I've been learning Japanese for 3 years, and anytime anyone asks me, like, how do I learn Japanese? How do I learn with immersion guides? I always link them to the TheMoeWay site, because in my opinion, it's just the most up-to-date immersion guide out there right now. Like, if you compare it to AJAT, I think AJAT has really good mindset building, but because it was written like 15 years ago, like, all the methods and tools are just so outdated, right? And I feel like a lot of other guides suffer from the problem of the writer writing it with monetary gain in their mind, right? But I feel like TheMoeWay just advertises such an efficient way to learn while being just completely free. You can learn Japanese for completely free. And anytime I recommend it to people, I always have to like preface some things, and I'm gonna explain those things in this video. The first thing I'm going to talk about is in the 30-day guide, in the Anki setup section, it tells you to download the Speed Focus add-on. But personally, I just would not recommend this because I feel like it just makes Anki too stressful if you're being timed, right? I do agree with the notion that you shouldn't spend like that long on Anki, ideally as little time as possible. But I feel like this is too much. You should just like keep in your head that you shouldn't spend that much time on Anki. And if you are, I would say if you're spending more than an hour on a day on Anki, then you like need to change something, right? You need to either like turn off new cards or lower the amount you're doing currently, because you need to prioritize immersion over Anki, obviously. So yeah, personally, I wouldn't recommend it. Just skip the speed focus setup part in the Anki setup, and yeah, just go by knowing that you shouldn't be spending that much time on Anki. The second setting I'd recommend changing on Anki is turning on FSRS, which basically it's a more modern scheduling system for Anki, which it's going to more accurately guess when you're going to forget a card to then show it to you when you're going to forget it. And basically, it just is trying to make you spend as least time as possible on Anki while getting the same effects on Anki, right? So it ties into the last section, for example. To turn it on, go into the Kaishi deck settings, and then scroll down until you find FSRS and turn it on. Set the desired retention to 0.85. I think 0.85 is a really good baseline because the higher you set it, the more reviews you're gonna get. The lower you set it, the less reviews you're gonna get. And yeah, and also I'd recommend the optimize button at the bottom there. You should press that around once a month. Basically, it just updates your FSRS parameters. And yeah, it's not the end of the world if you forget to press it, but you should probably still do it. Moving away from Anki, my third point is don't live and die by grammar explanations. What I mean by this is when you're watching or reading your first grammar guide, like you should just keep in mind that you're not really getting a true feeling of the grammar point right now. You're just getting like a rough keyword, I guess, so that when you see it in immersion, you can get the rough meaning. But you're actually going to get the real meaning of the grammar point when you just immerse and see it thousands of times. This goes for like words as well, right? Because like no matter how many dictionary definitions you see, like it just doesn't compare to just seeing it hundreds and thousands of times in immersion, right? That's how you get the true meaning of the word. The last thing I want to talk about in this video is I think it's been mentioned in a lot of other immersion guides and TheMoeWay, but like I can't stress enough how important it is to tolerate ambiguity when you're starting out, right? Because you're gonna be like immersing for like maybe like 20 minutes, an hour a day, more ideally, but during that time you're just not gonna understand anything for like months on end, right? You're just gonna be watching stuff without even understanding it, but you just need to tolerate the ambiguity and you need to get used to it, because that's how you learn, right? You just keep immersing even when you like don't understand, and that's how you gradually keep learning and spotting things you're learning. And then it's just gonna get so much easier when you're just like more advanced and can actually like get like the rough plot of what's going on. And yeah, it's just important to keep that in mind when you're starting out until you get to that point. So yeah, that's what I'd say you should keep in mind when starting the TheMoeWay method. See ya.